right, so welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something a little different.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
We're going to be looking at a rapper, Canibus,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically, we're going to be taking a deep dive into his promo track, Rip the Jacker to Infinity.
Right. A lot of layers to this one.
Yeah, so, this guy, he's known for his complex wordplay metaphors,
Definitely not your average rapper.
Because we're going to try to break it all down
Uh-huh.
and see what we can learn about Canibus's world.
His lyrical universe.
Yeah, exactly.
So, right off the bat, he hits us with this line. My soul was created 10,000 years before my body.
Whoa. Okay. So, what is he even saying there? Reincarnation, time travel.
It's definitely setting him up as something more than just a regular human, right?
Like almost a prophet.
Yeah, his consciousness existed before his physical form. It's setting the stage for the themes we're going to see throughout the whole track.
Okay, so we've got this ancient soul dropped into this future, and it's a future packed with tech. He raps about cybernetic upgrades, robots spitting rhymes, spaceships.
But there's this undercurrent of unease, right? It's not all shiny and chrome.
No, it's not utopia at all. Definitely not. He talks about societal breakdown and
Yeah.
a lack of connection, even with all this wealth.
That line, annual spring gala, 1 billion a plate.
$1 billion a plate. That's crazy.
But it makes you think, right? Even with all this progress, there's still this spiritual hunger.
Yeah, this disconnect. Does that resonate with you at all, in our own world?
Yeah.
With all the tech and everything?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's what makes Canibus so relevant, He's tapping into this anxiety we all feel about technology, isolating us, even as it connects us in new ways.
Definitely. And speaking of connection, one of the things that really stood out to me was that whole robot rapper thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a trip.
He builds this robot to spread his message, right? Because he feels like his music and rhymes have been neutralized. What's going on there?
Well, think about what the robot rapper represents, right? On one level, it's Canibus trying to literally amplify his reach.
To extend his voice.
Exactly. But it's deeper than that, too.
Yeah, it's like he's wrestling with this idea of artistic control in a technological age.
That's it. The robot rapper is this metaphor for the struggle for creative freedom. Canibus wants to be heard, but he's also afraid of becoming irrelevant.
Replaced.
Right, replaced by something artificial.
Which is, that's a real fear for artists today.
Yeah.
Especially now with, algorithms and AI starting to write music.
Oh, for sure. But then there's this shift, right? Canibus gets disillusioned with the robot.
Yeah. He even says, rapping robots ain't paying no bills.
It's he realizes that even with all this technology, you still need that human element.
That raw emotion.
Yeah, maybe true art requires struggle, something a robot can't replicate. What do you think?
I think it's a tension a lot of creative people deal with. We're drawn to the possibilities of tech, but there's also that fear of losing that human spark, that authenticity.
And that's where Canibus' spiritual seeking comes in, I think. He's not just rapping about gadgets and robots, he's searching for meaning. In this world that feels really materialistic and disconnected.
Like when he says, they told me humankind was on spiritual welfare. Who are they, and what does that even mean?
It's a bit ambiguous, but it definitely suggests we've lost our way, right? Our spiritual needs are being ignored in this rush towards technological advancement.
It's a pretty powerful statement.
Yeah, he's challenging us to think about what really matters.
And he's doing it with some of the most complex wordplay you'll ever hear in hip-hop. Lines like Jermaine's online observer graphic layering, entropy, computer metaphor styles. That's dense.
Right. That's where the deep dive really begins. Canibus isn't just a rapper. He's a poet. Bending language. To understand his message, you got to unpack these metaphors, explore the references.
Yeah, it's like deciphering a code.
But the rewards are huge. Canibus forces you to think, to question, to expand your understanding of what language can do.
It's what makes him so unique.
Yeah.
Right? He's not just entertaining, he's challenging us.
Yeah.
To think differently about the world, about ourselves,
right,
and about the possibilities of art.
Totally.
And if you're ready to take on that challenge, I definitely encourage you to check out C Radio on Spotify and Rippers Unite on YouTube.
Absolutely.
I could explore more of Canibus's music there and really dive deep into his lyrical universe. It's a trip.
Definitely worth the journey. All right, welcome back to our deep dive into Canibus.
So before we get into more of those crazy lyrics, you mentioned something in the last part about infinite theory. It
Yeah.
seems like more than just a song title.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like a core concept for him. Like, he's not just talking about infinite possibilities, he's embodying it in his music. Think about the density of his lyrics, the layers, like it's infinite information in every bar.
And that ties back into the robot, right? So
Yeah.
he's trying to like outdo technology. Like the human mind can create something more complex than any algorithm.
Absolutely. And that's what makes his lyrics so rewarding to analyze, you know? It's like solving a puzzle, uncovering these connections, unlocking these new levels.
Let's try to unlock one. How about this one? Time-traveling triads, custom tailoring triangles trapped in a tetrahedron time-lapse. I don't even know where to start.
That's Canibus for you. It's
Mhm.
a perfect example of him like blending these ancient symbols with this futuristic science. Triads, triangles, tetrahedrons, these are all shapes with deep significance.
Yeah.
Geometric and esoteric.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. Back up. What's a tetrahedron?
Oh, sorry. It's a 3D shape. It has four triangular faces, like a pyramid, and he's using these shapes to represent like different dimensions, different ways of seeing the world.
Okay, so he's taking these ancient symbols and then projecting them into the future with that time-lapse part. It's like his own language of symbols.
Exactly. He's challenging us to decode it, to expand our own understanding of reality. Like he's constantly pushing what words can even do.
Another one that jumped out was, they labeled me a loser, Germain's online observer, graphic layering, entropy, computer metaphor styles, astronomer royale, like a whole sentence in one line.
He's giving us a glimpse into his process, right? Germain's online observer, that's software for graphic design.
Yeah.
Layering images, creating depth and complexity.
And then he throws in entropy. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
The idea of disorder. Like, yeah, it's chaotic, but it's intentional.
Yeah, he's owning that complexity,
Yeah.
but also asserting his control over it. He's the astronomer, you know, mapping his own lyrical universe.
He's unafraid to get kind of weird with it, too. Like aquatic humanoids interbreeding with land mammals. What's that about? Ancient astronauts.
It's a wild image, but it speaks to this idea of evolution. You
Right.
know, where do we fit in? What if our history is more complicated than we think?
He really makes you think, huh?
He's not just rapping, he's making us rethink our whole understanding of the world.
And he does it with this lyrical skill. It's crazy, like weaving together science, philosophy, pop culture. It's so dense and intricate.
A tapestry of sound and meaning.
You know, for someone rapping about robots and spaceships, he seems pretty connected to his spirituality, too. There's this back and forth between ancient and future, tech and spirit.
Yeah, it's a tension that runs through all his work. He's fascinated by technology, but he's also worried about it, you know, of, like what it does to us, trying to reconcile these two forces.
In that search for meaning, it takes him to some interesting places, like that line about spiritual welfare. It's like we've become spiritually bankrupt.
Yeah, we're dependent on something outside of ourselves to fulfill our needs.
It's a powerful critique.
Yeah.
You know, we're drowning in technology, information overload,
Hmm.
but are we really connecting with what matters?
Are we feeding our souls? That's the question he's asking.
The question we should all ask ourselves. He's challenging us to find our own answers.
To forge our own path.
If anyone wants to go deeper, check out C Radio on Spotify and Rippers Unite on YouTube.
Those are your portals into the world of cannabis.
You'll find tons of music, interviews, all that. It'll help you decode cannabis's world.
It's a journey that'll challenge you. It'll make you think. It'll leave you with more questions than answers. But that's the point.
It's about the journey, not the destination. All right, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been digging into Canibus's Rip the Jacker to Infinity, and man, this guy's wordplay is just, it's next level.
Yeah, it's not just about rhyming, you know, he's like bending language to his will,
Yeah.
creating these verses that are like sonic sculptures almost.
Let's break down a few. How about this one? Acromegaly melodies, dwarf rap stars. What's he even talking about there? We in a medical textbook now.
Not quite, but it is anatomical. Acromegaly, it's a condition, causes excess growth. He's using it as a metaphor, like his melodies are so huge they overshadow other rappers.
So, like, he's got the biggest rhymes, basically. I mean, that's a pretty standard hip-hop boast, but
Yeah.
coming from Canibus, it feels different.
Oh, way different. It's more than bragging. It's like he's using this medical term to create this vivid image, highlighting the scale of his work. Like, my rhymes aren't just big, they're abnormally large.
And he takes that idea of size even further with the metaphors are so large they marginalize Mars. Sounds cool, but what's the deeper meaning there?
Again, it's about impact. He's using hyperbole, but the point is his metaphors are so vast, they dwarf even Mars. He's creating a whole universe within his lyrics.
It's like he's saying his words can reshape reality, and he does it all with this crazy mix of scientific language and street slang. Like he's speaking in code.
That's part of the appeal, right? He's
Mhm.
pushing boundaries, creating new meanings, forcing us to keep up. A true innovator.
And it's not just the words, it's how he uses them. The rhythm, the flow, how he bends those syllables. It's like watching a master craftsman at work.
Exactly. A wordsmith sculpting sound. And that brings us back to infinite theory. Canvas is constantly evolving, pushing limits, never settling.
He's not just a rapper, he's an artist, a visionary. And for anyone who wants to explore further, check out C Radio on Spotify and Rippers Unite on YouTube.
Those are your portals into Canibus's world.
You'll find tons of music, interviews, insights that'll help you understand his lyrics. It's a journey that'll challenge you, make you think, and you might end up with more questions than answers.
But that's kind of the point, right?
Exactly. Cannabis isn't about easy answers or catchy hooks. He's about expanding our minds, questioning everything, and embracing the infinite possibilities of art. So go out there, explore, and discover the world of cannabis. That's going to do it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.